Okay, overview of a 2008 Toyota Avalon. Complaints on the car are basically power steering is leaking. So here's the rack, and you can tell that from there it is all wet, so that seal is leaking on the steering rack. And let's go to the other side. I'll take a look like that, and you can tell it's really wet on this side, so this seal is really bad, and you can see all the leaking that's going on there. And that's the power steering pump right there, and you don't see any leaking coming from that. That's pretty dry, but it's all leaking out through the seals. And overall, taking another look at the car, see what else is going on with it. Brakes look okay on this side. Oh, actually, you got a little lipping going on with the rotor. You feel it on the inside a little bit more. So when we do change the brakes, the rotors have to be replaced on that as well. Rear strut, this boot is all torn up, so that's probably got to be replaced, as well as these sway linkage. They usually go bad with that. Rear brake, so no lipping is going on there. Brake pad looks okay. Again, you got some miles to go out of that. All right, this side, rear brake. This is actually worn down a lot more than the other side, so these should probably be taken care of a little bit sooner than later. Yep. And this side of rear strut, same thing. That boot's all ripped up on that side. That rear strut's got to be replaced. Okay, everything else looks okay. All right, and then here, back, front struts look all right, and brakes on this side also look okay. You got a little bit of lipping going on the front here, and then looking more into the rack, you can see more of the leak on that side. All right, let's bring it up, take a look underneath. All right, so from this angle, you can really see how bad and significant that power steering leak is. So this rack is bad. The seals are shot on it, so it's got to be replaced. So why it's leaking from the boot is the seals are broken, and then the power steering fluid travels down into the boots, fills them up, and then they find any crack or little whatever in there and start leaking. This is usually a telltale sign. When it starts curling around the front, that means that this, you can kind of feel it. I don't know if you can hear it, but that is pretty significantly full of fluid, power steering fluid. And basically, so you got the seals are bad there, and that's why that's leaking out. And again, better angle from the power steering pump underneath here. That's your power steering pump, and that is dry. And that is soaking wet, and you can see it kind of ooze now from here too. So that is definitely a telltale sign of a steering rack that needs to be replaced. All right, while we're under here, let's take a look at, you can kind of see more of that lipping going on. That's basically where the brake pad is making a trench in your rotor. So those should be replaced pretty soon. And your exhaust looks okay, no cracks, or I didn't hear anything leaking. That's your flex joint up there. Back underneath, so that's your strut. This is your sway bar in the back, and usually when I replace your struts, you got to replace this rear linkage because they usually break and should be replaced anyway. With that, and you can kind of see a little bit of cracking going on with that rubber. All right, and again, you got the dual exhaust, which looks pretty neat. All right, and that all looks okay. No issues. Fuel tank. Straps look good on the fuel tank. That's kind of weird looking, but that all looks okay. And brake lines, they all look like they're intact. No issues. Then what I did is I took a look at these. These are your lower ball joints, and the boots are in pretty good shape on them, so they don't look bad. This rubber donut that these lower control arms sit on, you can kind of see they're starting to crack. So next inspection, inspector might pick up on that. You got a little bit of cracking going on in lower control arms. They may require you to replace those. You can kind of see it on this side as well. But the ball joints look okay. Unfortunately, what will happen is you'll end up having to replace the ball joint and the lower control arm. And other than that, that is basically all I see. And I checked the bearings. The bearings look like they're good and in shape. But that's about everything here. All right. That's the overview of the Avalon.